Top 10 list, ladies and gentlemen, and this week it's on our top 10. Do you know what? You've taken my notes away and I can't remember what the top 10's on.
It's the top 10 greatest performance, and I'm going to start it off with number 10. At number 10 we have Jim Carrey playing Truman in The Truman Show. Yes. You seen The Truman Show?
This is a film I really want to watch. There's a list
why don't you watch it then?
There's a list of films that I kind of want to watch. There's a list of films I really do want to watch.
Are they actually a different playlist?
No, I'm not that sad. I'm sad, don't get me wrong. But continue. Why is this number 10?
So Truman Show is the film about a sheltered baby who is, like I said, sheltered in his whole life. His whole life is fake. Everything is acted. Every emotion, every person he connects with or meets with. Just every little facet of his life is one big TV show.
Yes.
And it's run by a god figure, which is the director and producer of the show. You just can't imagine anyone else playing that part. So, no, I mean, I can't imagine anyone else. Jim Carrey, it's out of character for him. People always see him as this, like, comedy, over-the-top, almost Adam Sandler-esque kind of character.
Are you really comparing him to Adam Sandler?
People would put him under that in the way that he's a comedy actor. He's almost like a cartoon figure.
Right, okay, but
Not on how
we
bad
discussed
they
this
are.
a few weeks ago. Like Adam Sandler tries to be a cartoon character.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey perfects that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
and it works for him. But in this, he's completely out of character. It's completely against typecasting.
Right.
And he plays a genuinely nice guy. And you go through all, you see his birth, all the most important times in his life, him getting married, and you kind of see him slowly unravel that mystery of it being, completely false and all a TV show, and you see his reaction to it. And although the plot of the film, it doesn't spoil anything in any way. It's interesting, doesn't matter how many times you watch it, and it has one of the greatest endings of all time.
So why is he on the list?
He's on the list because of the reasons I just said, Right,
well, I'm sick of Jim Carrey, so should we move on to number 9?
Number 9, Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight.
Oh, he's only number 9?
He's only number 9. And Jordan, are you going to mention how we must have got this wrong when really it's our own opinions?
No, I'm not saying we got this wrong at all. I'm just mean, for the tens of people who listen to this show, we're going to
literally twos of people.
We're going to offend every single one of them by putting him
every single two of them.
Every single two of them by being this low on the list. But why do we put him on number 9?
No, I'll answer every question, shall I?
Yeah, I mean,
so the reason he's on the list at all is because Heath Ledger, almost literally bled for this role. He embodied the character of the Joker, and the Joker is this sociopathic, clown makeup wearing anarchist almost, and his whole agenda is to collapse society and hold a mirror up to itself and show that it's not so perfect and it's not so, nice. In other words, I can't really find a better word, so that's why I went with the word nice.
What gets me about this is it what does the credit go towards more? I mean, we all know how great Heath Ledger's Joker is, but is that a great writing, great from a writing aspect, great from the acting aspect, or great of a directing aspect? Is it all three?
It's hard to distinguish that, just because, for example, we find The Dark Knight Rises, and Bane's character is amazing in that. Obviously, Tom Hardy took a little bit of a creative, hold on the character, but we don't know how far each influence and each performance goes. So, hats off to both of them. They both deserve rewards, but Heath Ledger embodies the character.
Oh, yeah.
And writing aside, there's only so much writing can do. You have to act that character out, and at no point, unless you're a terrible scriptwriter or director, do you say, and then he says it in this way and he says it in this way. An actor will see that, read the whole scene, identify where the character's thought process is, and then he'll act that out. And Heath Ledger does that perfectly for the Joker, and it's such a weird character to embody when it's not something that anyone can take inspiration upon on anything else. Maybe older past versions of the Joker, but it's nothing like we've seen before. Number 8, Will Smith in The Pursuit of Happiness. The reason I said it like that because it's spelled a little bit differently. It's the tale of Will Smith, a father striving to striving for funding, that's the wrong word, striving to make money, to feed his wife and child. And it's almost heartbreaking. You don't need to be a father to completely sympathise with the character. It's heartbreaking because he's trying to follow his dreams, but at the same time, he knows he has to, provide for his family. And it's that weird counterbalance. People have always said you lose your dreams when you gain a child. And there's, as horrible as that sounds, it's 90% true. If you haven't realised your dream by the time you have kids, most of the time it's going to be even harder to get it at that point.
That's true.
But he still tries, and this scene's important. Okay, this scene's important because he's talking to his son, and prior they're playing basketball, and he's talking about how he's going to go pro, messing around, and he shuts his son's dreams down immediately, saying, "Oh, you're only ever going to be as good as me," and you should probably look at more realistic things. But then he quickly changes his perception and realizes that's what people have been telling him all his life. And why should he tell his son anything else? Why should he limit his son on his dreams?
Well, I'm kind of I can't think of a word, but I'm really I need to think of a word because this is a talk show.
Yeah,
it'd
be great, wouldn't it?
It is great. I'm
just keep making weird noises.
I am to any performance that Jaden Smith puts on, just because of like films like. To be fair, I kind of enjoyed Karate Kid, but I know this is about Will Smith. He wasn't that bad, was it?
It was terrible.
Did you think it was terrible?
Yeah, I thought it was terrible.
I think there are a lot of other remakes that did it work, not for Karate Kid, but
when you compare it to remakes. But we're talking about The Pursuit of Happiness, Jordan.
We are, and Will Smith, not Jaden, and how
Will Smith's
terrible.
actually he's a big thing because Will Smith was in. He's mainly in like. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was his biggest thing.
Yes.
And then he went on to like semi-action movies with comical roles, so like I, Robot. And then he went to Pursuit of Happiness, 7 Pounds, 2 very, very serious films, showcasing his acting past any expectation. Like I said with Jim Carrey, you just didn't expect this from him. I Am Legend goes back to the action roots, and I loved I Am Legend. Have you seen I Am Legend?
I've seen I Am Legend, believe it or not.
I don't believe it.
I don't think so.
I have to actually get Jordan to swear on his parents' life when he says he's watched films. I Am Legend, great film, very, very dramatic pieces. And then, we started doing After Earth, and that's where his career started really plummeting. Focus later on, we'll talk about whether it's good or not, but maybe he comes back into the light of Hollywood as a credible actor, or maybe it's just another hit or miss.
No spoilers on the review. Should we move on to the next one?
Yep, number 7, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Gyllenhaal. That's Gyllenhaal for any person.
Do you want to take this away so I can get a breath?
Absolutely. You just keep making those noises.
I'm the one talking constantly. I'm going to take a drink of water.
For any of you who may know, that's not water. For any of you who may know, I don't suppose anybody actually listens to the show, but if anybody does, they will know that we absolutely adore the film Nightcrawler, which came out last year. For the longest while, it was our film of the year until Alessandro found out a film called Whiplash, which we won't talk about right now. Jake Gyllenhaal's performance in particular, he plays this very cathartic, very emotionless.
You use the word cathartic a lot. I'm not sure if you know what it means.
I mean, I know what it means. I can't really define
I thought
it.
cathartic was almost like that feeling of unrealness.
That'll do.
Right, okay. You keep going. I'm going to Google this. You Google it like.
I forgot where I was. He's very
cathartic.
very very unemotionless character, and it kind of like when somebody doesn't. The reason he's so great is because when somebody doesn't have that sort of human side to them, it makes them such a great. I don't want to use the word anti-hero because that's something we sort of hate now for other reasons, but. He's very antagonistic just because of the fact that he doesn't care. We said about Heath Ledger's Joker, he was... you're laughing because you found it.
No, I'm laughing because I found two, one says, cleansing, the purification and purgation of emotions, especially pity and fear. The other one is, in medicine, a cathartic is a substance that accelerates defecation.
That's the one I meant.
This is in contrast to laxatives. I was like, which one of those does he mean?
That's the one. The second one about medicine.
It's almost on the edge of, I want to say unrealistic just because... as humans, we're afraid of things we don't understand.
Yeah.
And to be trapped in a room with the character of Blue Bloom from Nightcrawler, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, would be absolutely terrifying. While he is quite harmless, when he's set his mind on something, he will do nothing. He will stop at nothing to achieve that goal.
No, and it's like the Joker, really. If a character really doesn't care about what they're doing, has no emotions towards it, and there's no mental effect on what they're doing, then that makes it even more scary.
There's no emotional attachment. So, how do you attack someone with no emotional attachment?
Exactly.
You can't offer, threaten them with prison or death because they don't care.
No, yeah, I mean, he's got nothing to lose in this film, and that was probably one of the greatest parts about it. That was really the thing that drove him to the success that he got in the film, the fact he had nothing to lose. He didn't care what he did or who he crushed to get there.
And he definitely, preyed upon that when embodying the character. And it's, like I said, with the Joker, it's a weird comparison between them two, but you could see Lou Bloom with Joker makeup in this, definitely.
I mean, it's weird how, I can't really explain to you why it's Jake Gyllenhaal specifically who makes this role so brilliant. I think it's just, I think he understood it, he knew that it was just, this guy had to have literally, emotion sort of does play a part, especially when he smashes that mirror in the film. But,
but that's his only weakness is his lack of achieving his goals. Number 6 is Christian Bale in American Psycho. Now, Jordan, I think you should take this because I do love American Psycho. but no one
Psycho.
loves American Psycho as much
Psycho.
as you do.
I adore American Psycho or Psycho. They're both great. But my favourite film out of the three is American Psycho with Christian Bale. And to be honest with you, I think you could compare Lou Bloom to Patrick Bateman in this film quite
They're
a
both
bit.
sociopaths. I'd say that.
I mean,
Patrick Bateman is a little bit more of a psychopath.
No, definitely, yeah. I mean, he's literally like, you never expect Jake Gyllenhaal unless he was, I'd never expect Jake Gyllenhaal to be completely naked, covered in blood, chasing a girl with a chainsaw down a hotel corridor. I wouldn't expect that out of him.
Sounds like my weekends.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would expect that out of you.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't compare them in the certain way. Like, I believe that. Like I said, Lou Bloom, I'd imagine seeing, being stuck in a room and being terrifying. While Patrick Bateman, he's almost a little bit too unrealistic for my taste, and that's not a point against the film, in my opinion. It feels more of against of. I think it goes hand in hand with the plot of the film.
No, yeah.
I personally don't believe what most of you're seeing on screen is real. So the fact that he's unrealistic it actually adds to my perception that Patrick Bateman is this, socially psychotic male who, is so infuriated with like social dialogue between him and his co-workers and just society as a whole, that he creates himself as his character.
No, yeah, I just think the only reason it doesn't matter about any of that.
It doesn't matter what you said. It's all bullshit.
It's how he performed it, which really got me. He went all out with this character. It's actually really. It made me laugh at some points, like just little parts, like where he's having sex with two prostitutes and he's just pointing to himself in the mirror, like, yeah. But
have you never done that before?
I've never done it before, but I will.
Is it because there's no mirrors in your house, or
no? My bedroom.
Because I get my phone, turn the camera around.
My bedroom's just completely made of mirrors, so I just haven't got a girlfriend. Anyway.
Well, your left hand will do the job, Jordan. Let's go to number 5, Rosamund Pike. So in earlier episodes, I talked about Gone Girl, and I even went as far as spoiling it. So I'm going to have to throw up another spoiler tag.
Alessandro, spoilers.
Stop listening now.
And don't come back.
And don't ever come back, for God's sake. Save yourselves. Gone Girl is the tale of the Dunn family. I mean, not really family, it's just Amy Dunn and Nick Dunn.
Call them a couple.
The couple. And one day when Nick returns home in the morning, finds his house to be a little bit in disarray and his wife to be missing. He calls the police and the film takes off from there. You know, his wife is missing. So in this, I threw up the spoiler tag, but basically Amy turns out to not be kidnapped, but instead, because of the infidelity of her husband, she decided to reap her vengeance upon him with great furious and...
Furious anger.
Yeah, great vengeance and furious anger.
That's for later.
Spoilers! Spoilers.
I think they already knew. Go ahead.
Okay, they could have probably guessed.
Yep.
And she's actually enacting vengeance and revenge on her husband by staging
when I
this...
lay my vengeance upon ye. By
staging this her whole kidnapping, but making elements so so faulted that it would only make the police and society think that he's the one who killed her.
Yeah.
And it's genius. She's an evil villain, and the reason she's in this is because you genuinely can't trust... This sounds like a really sexy
What
cool
were you
woman.
going to say?
You can't trust women. Yeah,
no,
I don't mean you can't. But I mean, after this film, you find yourself very hard to,
you find yourself
to
very
trust.
hard.
Jordan, this is like the worst top 10 in the world.
It was all right.
Number 4, thank you for returning. I don't know how you'd know to return at this point.
Okay.
But Marlon Grando.
Marlon Grando, everybody.
You're an
Have
asshole.
I really put Grando?
You put Grando.
He's a grand actor, that's why.
Marlon Brando in The Godfather.
Yes.
The reason for this is because Marlon Brando played an amazing part. Marlon Brando was known as the heartthrob. Mm-hmm. He was there as the hero. He was always saving, not necessarily the superhero, but he was there as the hero, always saving the feminine, the femme fatale in situations. He was the man that women always wanted. And then his career kind of went down the hill a little bit. He wasn't as popular, and Godfather came around the corner. And he played, is it Michael? No, Michael's his son. What's he?
Vito Corleone.
Vito Corleone.
Yes, that'll do. If
From
you want to just
Italian?
get your accent out for the episode, that's fine.
He plays the role of the Godfather in a mafioso family. And it's a great transition. It's an actor being his typecasting. He's no longer the heartthrob. You wouldn't recognise him. He looks about 70, 80 years old.
Yeah.
His hair is thin. His face. He had like a mouth guard made by the art department to put in his mouth to make his cheeks look a little bit.
It's supposed to make it look like a bulldog.
Yeah, you said that before.
And the episode it didn't air, so I didn't really say
it wasn't the episode
it
didn't air. It was the top 10 version that didn't air.
That was shit. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just that transformation, and he no longer he doesn't even play. You don't see any elements of any character or even Marlon Brando. It's such a complete departure from the actor. It's great. You got anything to say to this, or should I just take the rest of this show?
Mate, you've said everything I could possibly say, except from the fact that the thing that intrigues me, and I try and catch this out every time I watch The Godfather, because it is one of those films you like to just go back and watch again to see.
Recently watched it the other week.
Did you? Which one? First one.
The first one. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of the third one. Second one's pretty good, but
second one's my favourite. But we won't get into it now.
Okay, we won't have any discussion on this podcast.
No, it's a film discussion show with lack of discussion this week. What was I going to say? Yeah, he read cue cards, didn't he? He didn't actually know the script, which is amazing. I think the fact that he never took the time to, that's actually quite a detriment. But
it's a little bit. It's kind of like a for and against argument. Yeah. Against he's always been known as the actor who didn't learn his lines. They had to, show him his cards, and it was because he's such a high class of actor and high celebrity status that they did it for him.
The fact that he didn't need to
that's the other point. Yeah, he didn't need to pull on the script or remember it. He could just deliver those lines, and it's great.
So who knows what would have happened if he actually did remember the script? Maybe it would have been even better.
Good too. Number 3, Sam Jackson.
No doubt, one of the most opposing, just greatest performances in cinema history. Where do you start?
Not the best one, because we didn't put it at number 1.
No, it's the best one ever. This is our number 1.
So it goes 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 1.
Okay, fine. I might have over-exaggerated a bit, but it's a great performance. I mean,
it's second. I was going to say second to none, but that's just what you did.
It's third to none.
Yeah, it's third to none, except for
it's third to 1.
Oh my God! Should we get on with this?
Yes.
So Sam Jackson plays the character of Jules. Jules, a highly religious man. Who is would you say, bounty hunter? He's a contracted killer, but only under one man.
I'd say
he's a bodyguard almost.
More or less, yeah.
And he's been tasked upon finding a briefcase with the contents being a mystery.
Mm-hmm.
And these group of people that we meet at the start of the film have withheld this, and just the control and power and how threatening he is would before even take the gun's not even out until just before you hear the first gunshot.
Yep.
And he commands the presence of the whole room just by using his voice and his stature.
Yeah, and the thing is, what I love so much about this character is if you actually got into an argument with somebody like this, you know that there's absolutely no way you can win. He's just got responses for everything you say like that. It's incredible. Like how he portrayed this, it's so quick, it's so it's so smart as well.
Hats off to the writing of Quentin Tarantino though, because he knows how to write this threatening opposing character. I mean, we get a little bit of dialogue, and it's quite friendly dialogue. Is this a burger? Where'd you get this burger from? Mind out, have a bit. And he eats like. People don't realise how subtle this is, but eating someone else's food is one thing. But then
it's a sign of dominance.
Yeah, it's a sign of dominance. He knew he was going to say yes. Then he drinks his drink, but he doesn't just drink his drink. He slurps the whole thing until you can hear air, being sucked up through the straw. Mm-hmm. And he, again, no deviation from his face. He has no remorse for doing any of these actions. And then he kicks into business. Doesn't matter if he starts with business, doesn't start with business. Everyone feels threatened, even after talking about a burger joint.
And it all revolves around him, really, doesn't it? It's at his pace. It's whenever it'll kick off when he wants it to kick off. He'll take a break when he wants to take a break. Just complete control over the whole scene, and I absolutely love that.
Yeah, and the one time that Brett Guys tries to set his own pace, he starts talking. All Samuel Jackson's character Jules has to do is hold his hand out. And Brett knows to sit down, stop talking, and he only continues to talk when Samuel Jackson allows him to.
Do you know the Bible quote?
I do, but we're not going to go through it.
Please try.
The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the inequities of the evil of the tyranny of evil men. I'm not doing all of it.
Such a nerd, such a film nerd.
Shut up. Number 2, J.K. Simmons in Whiplash.
Such a great portrayal of a character there. I mean, honestly, you watch something like that, it's so brutal, him just, his commandment over it, and you actually do want to just get up and smack this guy, don't you?
It is, but the reason, and we've talked about this a couple of times, the reason he's on here is because his portrayal of he's a teacher, but obviously, as most music teachers go, they have their own kind of agenda. They want to get this great student band to the finals, and they get like renown. He's a well-renowned like composer, and the reason this is so horrible, and we've talked about this before, is because. And I completely forgot what I was going to say, but now I've just remembered, and I'm going to continue talking.
Words until you actually...
Words. I'm on the train again, the thought train.
You're obviously not, because you're still going.
Shut up. Anyway, no, it's because it's real depiction. You can believe it's real. Like I've never had this, but I can imagine having a teacher or some sort of opposing figure that, for example, you're messing around, talking to your friends. As soon as this figure walks in the room, everyone goes quiet. You quickly get on your work. Let's say you were, like for example, playing on the drums. He's not thinking, let me play on the drums. He's thinking, don't mess up. And that's what you're thinking whilst watching the film. You're really scared for the character that Miles Teller plays, because you don't want him to mess up, because if he messes up, he's more than likely going to, feel the wrath of J.K. Simmons, and he's terrifying.
And it's the fact that he's actually not that bad either, but the guy just wants complete perfection, which seems like an impossible
He's
task.
not that bad. You need to see the film.
Is he not that bad?
No, he's terrible. No, what do you mean? As a drummer?
Yeah.
No, he's a great drummer, and we talked about Whiplash.
He's a great drummer, but he's just expected to go higher, and for some reason he's treated like shit for it.
Number 1, Leonardo DiCaprio playing Monsieur Candy in Django Unchained.
I don't think he was French, was he?
No, but do you not remember the bit on the scenes where you first are met with Candy, and he says, call him Monsieur Candy, and he's like, oh, he speaks French. He's like, don't speak French. He doesn't know how to speak French.
It's obviously been too long since I've seen this
God.
film. But yeah, I'm getting a bit of a craving to watch a few Tarantino films again, do a marathon, so we'll see what happens on that. Should we actually talk about the character, Leonardo DiCaprio playing Calvin Candy, I think it was his first name?
Calvin Candy. I knew when I made this list, or started the name of the list, top 10 greatest performances, that Jordan and me would have to put this as number 1, and we recently got to rewatch this scene, and I saw the light and glint of the moon shine back in Jordan's eyes, and for once there was some activity going on in his brain.
That's it.
And that activity was mostly positive about this scene. So Jordan, tell us what activity enacted in your brain.
Well, we're not actually going to show the clip
of your brain.
My brain. No, the clip that we're talking about, for any of you who've seen the film, is the how do you describe this? It's a scene where Jamie Foxx and Christoph Waltz...
It's a deal being made.
Yeah, for a slave lady. They want to... What's
lady?
She's a slave
lady.
She's
a lady.
What do you want me to call her?
Woman.
A slave human.
Okay.
And
don't be sexist. She could be any sex.
You said she. Anyway.
I'm the sexist one, Jordan. Leave it out.
Jamie Foxx and Christoph Waltz come trying to save this slave by buying her from Calvin Candy, the Leonardo DiCaprio character. And he just sort of... it's again, I think we've said this about the past 3 characters we've reviewed, really, just very intimidating. Like, you've got no control whatsoever. He's just got complete control of the entire scene. And... the main reason, right? We haven't shown a clip because it's probably more visual.
You keep pointing at the screen as if I'm going to start YouTubing it right now.
No, I mean, they can't see where I'm pointing unless for watching my YouTube video, which is on www.youtube. We don't have a URL. YouTube's fucking terrible.
We do, but it's weird.
It's horrible. I'm not going to spell it out.
I'm going to let you continue. I'm really happy for you, and I'm gonna let you finish. That was a Kanye West clip.
Was it? Was it really?
Was it really? And but I think the reason, and I kind of go against what you said. You said it's because of his dominance and how threatening he is. I think because he's dominating, and he's, but it's also because the characters, for the past 45 minutes of the film, almost have the upper hand on this character the whole way through, and for a second you believe as the audience that things are going very well. But Calvin Candy has a way of changing 45 minutes worth of film and effort into
his own thing, really.
making him have the upper hand.
That's it. Yeah, it's that, and the fact that this guy Leonardo DiCaprio, this guy, you might have heard of him, was just, you probably heard the rumours, not the rumours, the story of the scene where he was just so passionate, the trivia, where he actually smashes a glass on accident, but continues the scene anyway. His hand is just absolutely destroyed, covered in blood, and he actually plays that off on the film. He doesn't say cancel, we got to get this sorted out. He just keeps going. He goes as far to wipe the blood, smear it all over the slave lady's face, and it's great. Like, apparently, the reactions that the actors were getting were probably deadly serious, because this wasn't supposed to happen. His hand's busted up and he's still continuing.
Well, apparently that was like first take, and Tarantino,
whose words are like biblical to us.
Well, no, it was the great partnership between those two actors. Leonardo DiCaprio hasn't worked with Tarantino before.
No.
But DiCaprio not only cut his hand and was bleeding severely, but in his mind, he knew to continue the scene, to deliver this amazing performance. But at the same time, while an actor might not have done that, a director most likely would have cut. And Tarantino almost telepathically communicated with DiCaprio.
It's a great bond,
and between that communication, they decided to continue the scene on and deliver, in our opinion, one of the greatest performances ever made.
Real view.